Good evening. Welcome to the Eves of Destruction. The Eves of Destruction acknowledge and thank the Kosapsum, Esquimalt Nation, and the Songhees Nation, along with the Stuk and Paddy Dutch, for allowing us to play the sport we love and host our events on their traditional territory. We as guests recognize the territory as unceded and honor the ongoing relationship with the land and stewardship of the Algonquin-speaking people. We are honored to live on this land and are working towards reconciliation, decolonization, and building relationships in our communities. A few local organizations you can support are the Victoria Native Friendship Center, Raven Trust for Environmental Justice, and the Camp Coastal Connections, Indigenous Harm and Reduction in Health Services.
I want to thank and welcome North Island Roller Derby and friends tonight with the Rainbow Riders. On track tonight, we have 0-0 Fanny in the pack. 1-0-2 Pearl Jam. Number 13, Just Ducky. Number 15, Reba McIntyre. Number 221, Sherblock Holmes. Number 3, Brawl Patrol. Number 404, Lila Ability. Number 49, Bomber. Number 7, Cat. Number 8, Scream Soda. Number 801, Seamstress. Number 880, Legs Benedict. And number 911, Slamdra Bullock. And want to welcome Reba McIntyre and Kat tonight, who are skating in their first bout.
And playing on the glitter bomb tonight, we have 006 Ultraviolet, 04 Leslie McGuire, 055. Nope. I don't know what happened. All right, we got 055 Polly Rocket, 11 Sweet Tea, 135 Casket, 15 Barnacles, 212 Princess Di, 2997 Manic Pixie Mean Girl, 33 Poison Dart Frog, 567 Pee Wee Sleigh House, 666 Carry Me to Hell, 789 Spitfire, 808 Hitsy Bitsy, 88 Ginger Snaps, and 94 Morning Glory. Bench staff is Mill Street Bruisery, Tuffy, Hot Flash, and Mortal Wombat.
Welcoming our skating officials tonight, outside pack refs will be Raven, Otter Mayhem, and Bobby Flair. Our jam refs for tonight, Faffin About and Rolando Frioso. Our inside pack ref, Hunky Dory, and the head ref for tonight's game is Wiener.
Tonight, your head NSO is Bossy Pants, Jam Timing, Time Bandit. Your EPLTs are Terminate Her and Fat Bottom Hurls. Scoreboard operator is Pushy. Scorekeepers are Nailer and Left on Red. Your penalty box manager is Mint. And timing in the box is Ohm's Lawbringer and Koala Mela.
For our first jam tonight, we have Slamdra Bullock from North Ireland up against Polly Rocket. And is Slamdra Bullock with your lead jammer. Polly Rocket is up at the front of the pack, attempting their initial pass. Meanwhile, Slamdra knocked out, recycled to the back of the pack, working on the first scoring pass. Pack is spread wide through turns 1 and 2. And Polly Rocket is through. And the jam gets called off.
Thieves of Destruction wish to thank all of the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them tonight, consider if you would like to help us keep on rolling through 2026. Contact us at sponsorship@eavesofdestruction.com. Jamming for the glitter bombs, we've got 1-5, Bar Knuckles, and jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got number 3, Brawl Patrol. And Rainbow Riders have lead. Bar Knuckles makes it her way through and for the initial pass. Bar Knuckles is made it through the pack, scoring 4 points and calls off the jam.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets special treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. And we have Poison Dart Frog up against Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock for the Rainbow Riders scores lead jam. Poison Dart Frog slips through the front wall. But Sherlock Holmes scores 4 points and calls off the jam.
The Zone 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock. The Zone is live on the airways from right here in Victoria, in fact, just down the street. Jamming for the glitter bombs is number 11, Sweet Tea. And jamming for the Rainbow Riders is 13, Just Ducky. Sweet Tea's at the front of the pack and makes her way through to get lead. Just Ducky has made it through for their initial pass as Sweet Tea joins the back of the pack. And she makes her way forward at turn 2. She gets a cut and lead is lost. This will be a 2-minute jam. Just Ducky has been drawn back and is entering the engagement zone in turn 2. And makes her way through, gaining 4 points. Re-entering the engagement zone in turn 3. Coming up against a pretty solid wall. Sweet Tea and re-enters the track, fighting her way through at the back of the pack as Just Ducky scores another 4 points. Sweet Tea's pushing her way through, got knocked out. re-entering the track in the middle of the pack and makes their way through, scoring 4 points. Just Ducky makes their way through the pack and also scores another 4 points. Sweet Tea has re-entered the engagement zone and has made her way out of the pack, scoring another 4 points. Just Ducky manages to squeeze in another 4 points after the jam naturally ends.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume. With Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road or to our left here on site tonight. Yeah, slammed her bullock up against Spitfire. Spitfire up the inside. Gets knocked to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, slammed her bullock is through. No pass, no penalty, no lead. And now, seems Slammer Bullock has been given 30 seconds in the penalty box. So it is a power jam for the Glitter Bombs. Spitfire up the inside. Scores lead jammer. Some nimble footwear on the inside. Stays inbounds. Legs Benedict gets sending off for a direction of play penalty. Meanwhile, Spitfire is working the front wall. Looking back and forth, trying to find a way. That wall spanning the width of the track. So it goes right through the middle of the wall. And Spitfire calls off the jam.
Our amazing crew of dedicated officials is one of the Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From non-skating officials to on-skate officials, they make it possible for us all to enjoy this sport we love so much. Speak to any official or EOD member to find out how you too could become a part of this awesome crew. There has been an official timeout called to do some track repairs. And if you're not aware, there is a fundraiser happening outside. Hot dogs for sale. They're $3 each. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs is number 33, Poison Dart Frog. And jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 221, S₹ Holmes. And Poison Dart Frog makes it out of the pack, gaining lead. Last time it was SjourdBlock that got lead when these two faced each other. And Frog makes their way through the pack again, scoring 4 points. And SjourdBlock is through, having made their initial pass. Frog is already in the middle of the pack and calls off the jam, gaining another 2 points.
Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z, the antidote to boring travel. We have Slammed Bullock on the line again for the Rainbow Riders. And it's Lizzie McGuire. First time jamming for the glitter bombs today. Gets knocked out and it's recycled to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Slammer Bullock has worked their way to the front. Big block by Legs Benedict. And Slambra's through. And this is your lead jammer for the Rainbow Riders. Scoring pass for Slammer Bullock. And in the pack, we have a star pass in the making. That was Ultraviolet. Now the jammer for the glitter bombs. Knocked to the inside, out to the back of the pack, and then on the outside, back of the pack. Space, Sweet Tea makes space. Meanwhile, Slammer Bullock, another scoring pass and calls off the jam.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All the donuts are made by hand from scratch and with quality ingredients. I actually tried a different one last time and now I'm conflicted. I really like the Earl Grey, but the old-fashioned sourdough is pretty good too. We got jamming for the glitter bombs. 1, 2, 1. Princess Di. And jamming for the Rainbow Riders. 3. Brawl Patrol. Both jammers are at the back of the pack. Brawl Patrol was knocked out and recycled back. Both jammers were cycled back. Still fighting to gain lead. Princess Di on the inside of the pack, as Brawl Patrol stays on the outside. Both jammers trying to push their way through the pack. We're still at the start of turn 1. Pretty even walls, I would say. We are 1 minute into the jam and there's still no lead. Lead has now been taken by Brawl Patrol. And we've had a star pass on the glitter bombs. And Spitfire is now the jammer. Brawl Patrol calls off the jam, scoring 2 points.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. It is Scream Soda up against Casket. It is the first time jamming for both these jammers tonight. And it is Casket that gets lead jammer. Big hit by Scream Soda, who makes their way through for their initial pass. Meanwhile, Casket picks up their first 4 points and gets a whip from Scream Soda. This is fantastic. The jam is off. And it's a high five between the two jammers. Nice teamwork.
Get your 50-50 tickets now. The draw will be during the halftime of the last game. You could leave richer than you arrived. Jamming for the glitter bombs, we've got 1-1 Sweet Tea. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 9-1-1 Slamda Bullock. Both jammers are trying to make their way through the pack. Sweet Tea's being held back and sneaks up through the middle. Both jammers out of the pack. Sweet Tea is ahead, and Slamda calls off the jam. No points scored in that jam.
Hearts and Hands, your friendly neighborhood community acupuncture and holistic health collective. Right here in the heart of Quadra Village. Both their first jams for number 15 and number 15? Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. And it is number 15, Rebus McIntyre up against number 15, Bar Knuckles for the glitter bombs. These two evenly matched jammers working. Oh, we got a lead jammer. Look at that. It is the Rainbow Riders, but gets passed by the glitter bombs jammer. And it is an 0-0 jam.
The Zone 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock. The Zone is live on the airways from right here in Victoria. Jamming for the glitter bombs is 04 Leslie McGuire. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders is number 7 Cat. And Cat has been recycled back by Frog. Both jammers still and Leslie McGuire makes it through and gets lead. Cat is also through, completing their initial pass. Leslie enters the engagement zone and calls off the jam.
Influence Board Shop invites you to drop in for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear. That's Influence Board Shop. First time jamming for Phoebe Slayhouse? And we have a power jam to start this jam. Cat from the Rainbow Riders got a penalty at the end of the last jam for a equipment violation. It is Pee-wee Sleigh House jamming for the Glitter Bombs, their first jam of the evening. Pee-wee Sleigh House makes it through and collects lead jammer. Pee-wee Sleigh House back into the pack, working up against the front wall, and Cat screams into the pack, gets knocked out of bounds, recycled to the back of the pack by Sweet Tea. Meanwhile, up front, Pee-wee's working hard against the three wall of the Rainbow Riders. And trying up the middle, it's a block by Scream Soda. A continual block by Scream Soda, but Pee-wee pushes through and is there for their first scoring pass, or second scoring pass now. And Cat is back to the penalty box again, so it is once again a power jam for the Glitter Bombs. Pee-wee Sleigh House completely mired in the front wall of the Rainbow Riders. Just calls off the jam. Scores a few more points. And we will start the next jam as a power jam again.
A big EOD thank you to our tireless photographers. We all look forward to revisiting today's greatest hits through your work. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs is 1-5 Bar Knuckles. Bar Knuckles makes her way through the pack. Fighting their way and makes it through, gaining lead. Back into the engagement zone. Coming up across a very solid wall. Getting recycled back. And there's a star pass for the Rainbow Riders. Your new jammer is 0-0. Fanny in the pack as the jam gets called off. Glitter Bombs gain 1 point.
Cloverdale Paint has helped keep our track going for over 13 years. Check out their newly opened store in Souk. And it is Sureblock Holmes jamming against Poison Dart Frog. Poison Dart tries up the inside, but it is Sureblock Holmes who screams around the outside, into the inside, gets knocked out, recycled to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Poison Dart Frog working up against that front wall. Both jammers completely mired in the defense of the opposing teams, but it is Sureblock Holmes who is through for lead jammer. Poison Dart Frog around for their initial pass. Meanwhile, Sureblock Holmes makes their first scoring pass and calls off the jam.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. And I just discovered that they're open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we've got 008 Ultraviolet up against Rainbow Riders 911 Slamdra Bullock. Slamdra made it all the way to the front of the pack, however, is being recycled back by Sweet Tea. Both jammers being held off by the walls of the opposing team. And Sweet Tea again recycles Slamdra back. as Ultraviolet gains lead. Ultraviolet is in the engagement zone again. Coming up behind as Slamdra gets their initial pass. And Ultraviolet calls off the jam, gaining 1 point.
The Zone at 901.3 is our exclusive radio partner. Playing today's modern rock, The Zone is live on the airwaves from right here in Victoria. It is Pearl Jam up against Ginger Snaps. Pearl Jam screams up the inside, sleeps around Spitfire, and collects lead jammer. Well, Ginger Snaps mired into the back of the pack. Pearl Jam really sneaks through the inside, makes their first scoring pass unopposed. Meanwhile, Ginger Snaps trying the outside. Tries the crossover maneuver, but it is knocked down by Legs Benedict. And meanwhile, Pearl Jam coming through with their scoring pass, collects a penalty, and is now a power jam for the Glitter Bombs. Ginger Snaps tries out the outside, but stopped by Legs Benedict. Back and forth to the inside, Scream Soda knocks them out. But Ginger Snaps passes up the outside and she makes her initial pass as Pearl Jam screams out the inside. She gets knocked out. But the opposing blocker went down, got back in, out of play. And a hard hit. That is Manic Pixie Mean Girl who has taken those shots. Pearl Jam pushing up against the front three wall. And Spitfire does a last ditch attempt and knocks her out. It is a fight between Pearl Jam and Spitfire up at the front, but Spitfire has to concede. Pearl Jam picks up 4 points.
Thank you to the St. John's ambulance attendants on site today. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we've got 808, Itsy Bitsy. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 3, Brawl Patrol. First time for It Bitsy. And Brawl Patrol makes their way through the pack and gains lead. Bitsy's still fighting their way through the pack as Brawl Patrol makes their way through, scoring 4 points. Bitsy's being held up by Fanny and Cat. And makes it through for their initial pass as Brawl Patrol slips on by and gains 4 points and calls off the jam.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield, or in a couple minutes, grab a beer here on site tonight. It is Scream Soda jamming against 006 Ultraviolet. Scream Soda knocked to the inside of the pack, meaning some hard resistance. Morning Glory keeping them at bay. Meanwhile, the Rainbow Riders taking out the Glitter Bombs jammer. Ultraviolet recycled to the back of the pack. In the meantime, it is Scream Soda as your lead jammer. Meanwhile, the Glitter Bombs pivot gets a penalty. That's Poison Dart Frog heading to the penalty box. Meanwhile, Scream Soda spins round, collects 4 points, and makes another lap. Some hard blocking by Sweet Tea, but Scream Soda is around for yet another scoring pass, and Ultraviolet once again recycled to the back of the pack. Looks by Legs Benedict. Scream Soda gets a hard hit from Morning Glory. Take it to the back of the pack. And the jam gets called off.
Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with a modern comfort. Hotel Z is the antidote to boring travel. And jamming for the Glitter Bombs is 212 Princess Di. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders is 911 Slamdra Bullock. Looks like there might be a hazard in the middle of the track for our refs. So we're just going to cover some tape and make sure that they stay safe. Doesn't take much to stop those wheels. A simple sequin can take out a ref. Both jammers are in the engagement zone. As Slamdra Bullock is at the front of the pack, makes her way through and gains lead. Meanwhile, Princess Di is still making their way through the pack for their initial pass. They're at the front of the pack as Slamdra Bullock sneaks on by and makes her way out of the pack with gaining 4 points. Princess Di makes their way through for their initial pass. Slamdra Bullock makes their way through the pack, calls off the jam, and gains 4 points.
Empire Donuts. A whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients. Check them out at our merch aisle tonight. They got a bunch of different varieties, very colorful, and I'm really hoping they brought their famous Earl Grey. It is Legs Benedict jamming. First time for Legs, jamming up against Polly Rocket. Both jamming. Oh, no, it is Legs Benedict. Legs takes your lead for the Rainbow Riders. Meanwhile, Sureblock and Pearl Jam are keeping Polly Rocket at bay. Legs screens through the outside. Picks up their first scoring pass as Polly Rocket gets their initial pass, and the jam has been called off, and that is intermission. It is Rainbow Riders 82, Glitter Bombs 39.
While we're waiting for everybody to get back on the track, the A-Team craft table will be closing after this game. So if you want to get any fun little trinkets, please make your way to the A-Team craft table. Jamming for the glitter bombs, we've got 1-1 Sweet Tea. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 911 Slamdra Bullock. And Sweet Tea makes her way through the pack and gains lead. And Slamdra has made their initial pass. Sweet Tea gains 4 points. Slamdra has made their way to the front of the pack, being held back by a Poison Dart Frog as Sweet Tea gains another 4 points. Slamdra makes their way through and gains 4 points. Sweet Tea sneaks on the outside, makes their way through, calls off the jam, gaining another 4 points.
Hey, where are my 50-50 folks at? There they are! 50-50 draw! Get your tickets now. The draw will be during the halftime of the last game of the day. You could leave here richer than when you showed up. We have Spitfire for the Glitter Bombs up against Rainbow Riders Brawl Patrol. Spitfire sneaks past Brawl Patrol around to the back. Both jammers still at the back of the pack, trying to work the inside. Brawl Patrol is through and takes lead. Spitfire hot on their heels. Last ditch effort by Cat to try the block, but in vain. Brawl Patrol enters the pack, takes the outside, whereas Spitfire slips at the inside, scores 4 points. Brawl Patrol calls off the jam.
Heart and Hands, your friendly neighborhood community acupuncture and holistic health collective in the heart of Quadra Village. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs is number 04, Leslie McGuire. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, 1-5, Rebus McIntyre. Both jammers are sitting at the back of the pack, trying to figure out where those holes are in those tough walls. And Reba makes it through, gaining lead. Reba enters the engagement zone. And Leslie is sent to the box. Reba gets 4 points. Back into the engagement zone. Making her way through on the inside of the track. And being recycled back. Ooh, hard hit there by 808. Called off because it was quite the hit to the head.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. Starting off with a power jam for the Rainbow Riders, it is Slamdra Bullock.
So the reason that the jam was called was due to injury because the players had made contact with the cement. We take that very seriously, and even though the player got up, we asked that for them to be checked out by the paramedics.
Once again, I want to send a thank you to the St. John's ambulance crew for keeping us safe. And Slammer Bullock is up the inside, working the power jam for the Rainbow Riders. Gets recycled to the back of the pack by Sweet Tea. Drives up the back of the wall. Again, it is now Leslie McGuire out of the penalty box, trying the outside, but it is Slammer Bullock through for your lead jammer. And there's a star pass for the Glitter Bombs. It is now Poison Dart Frog jamming for the Glitter Bombs. But the jam has been called off.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs is 789 Spitfire. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders is 221 Sherlock Holmes. Both jammers. Oh, and Sherlock makes it through, getting lead as Spitfire is fighting at the back of the pack. Sherlock is back in the engagement zone as Spitfire makes their initial pass. Sherlock makes it through the pack, calls off the jam, and gains 4 points.
The Zone at 91.3, our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock all day, every day. Live on the airwaves just down the street, right here in the heart of Quadra Village. And it is Princess Di up against Brawl Patrol. Both jammers casually approach the pack. And it is Brawl Patrol that is through for lead jammer. Princess Di mired in the pack as Brawl Patrol approaches for their scoring pass. Glitter Bombs forming strong back wall. Recycling Brawl Patrol to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Princess Dies still working at the front. Rainbow Riders front wall. Working hard to stop them, but Princess Dies through for their initial pass. And here comes Brawl Patrol picking up 4 points for the Rainbow Riders and calls off the jam.
You can join your favorite skaters tonight at Swan's Pub for the Eves of Destruction after party. Just a reminder, there is hot dogs for sale outside, $3 each. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we've got 567 Pee Wee Sleigh House. And for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 911 Slam Drop Bullock. I know. Both jammers are trying to make their way through the pack. As Slamdra is at the front and makes their way through, gaining lead. Sweet Tea is sent to the box. As Pee Wee Sleigh House is pushing hard at the front of the pack there. And Frog makes their way to the box. Slamdra gains 4 points. And Pee Wee is still working hard, trying to get through that pack. Slamdra just sneaks their way past and comes out of the pack, calls off the jam, and gains 4 points.
Drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear. And drop in to drop in. Influence Board Shop, down at the end of Quadra. Just Ducky against Casket. Just Ducky's first jam? Nope. Okay. Okay. Nobody's sponsoring the penalty box or a jammer line or anything like that. Yeah, NIRD, they've got a sponsor for pretty much everything. I like how they got a mattress. I know it's Trish's company, but they got a mattress company sponsoring the penalty box. So, yeah. Wow. Was this just track repair? And they just don't make Mylar the way they used. I remember like, well, it's almost 20 years ago now, but the Mylar was so stiff that putting it down on the Eagle Ridge, we had to be careful removing it that we didn't pull up the floor tiles. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that Mylar was. You couldn't pull it up. You had to like lean the way back and pull it, because otherwise you'd take the tile right out on the floor. We're back. We have Casket on the line for the Glitter Bombs up against the Rainbow Riders' Just Ducky. Just Ducky up the inside of the pack. Spitfire tries for the late block, but Just Ducky's through for lead jammer. And it is a hard hit of Scream Soda, putting Casket out towards the back of the pack once again. That's the 7th time in a row that Rainbow Riders have gotten lead jam in this half. Jammers running neck and neck, and Just Ducky calls off the jam.
Cloverdale Paint has helped keep our track going for 13 years. Check out their newly opened store in Souk. Oh. I think our laptop just died. So we've got jamming for the Glitter Bomb 055. And jamming for the Rainbow Riders 221. Both jammers are still at the back of the pack. And 055 sneaks through, gaining lead. Both jammers are through. 055 calls off the jam.
The Eves of Destruction wish to thank all of the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them tonight, consider if you too would like to help keep us rolling through 2026. Contact us at sponsorship@eavesofdestruction.com. It is Bar Knuckles up against Brawl Patrol. Once again, both jammers ease into the pack. Once again, it is Brawl Patrol through for, no, not Lee Jammer. Oh, Lee Jammer.
Good call. Good call.
Bar Knuckles makes it through their initial pass, whereas Brawl Patrol up at the front of the pack calls off the jam on their first scoring pass.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatment and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. And jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we got 789 Spitfire. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we got 8 Scream Soda. Spitfires fighting their way at the front, being held up by Legs Benedict, so Scream Soda sneaks past, gains lead. Scream is back into the engagement zone at the back of the pack. Makes their way through, and there was an attempt to block them out by Sweet Tea. Looks like we've had a star pass for the Rainbow Riders, and Jammer is now 3-3 Rainbow Frog. Or Poison Dart Frog. Wow.
The Zone at 913. Proud to have them as our exclusive radio partner. Playing today's modern rock from right down the street. The Zone. Live on the airways. Right here in Victoria. It is 911 Slammed Bullock up against 006 Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet knocked down to the inside of the pack. Gets recycled to the back. Meanwhile, Slammed Bullock is through and has picked up lead Jammer. Ultraviolet working the front wall. Meanwhile, Slammed Bullock is mired at the back of the pack in the Glitter Bomb's defense. And unfortunately, Ultraviolet has earned themselves a trip to the penalty box. The jam has been called, so we will start the next jam as a power jam for the Rainbow Riders.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road, or here on site. Get a couple of bevies. And we got a team timeout for the glitter bombs. Hot dogs are only going to be on sale for the remainder of this game. So if you're going to get a hot dog and support the fundraising, please do so. Jamming for the first time tonight. 4-9, Brammer. Brammer makes their way through the pack and gains lead as it is a power jam. They re-enter the engagement zone. And gain 4 points. Sliding through on the inside. They gain another 4 points. And they slip by on the outside of the track, gaining another 4 points. And Ultraviolet makes it through for their initial pass, just as Brammer calls off the jam, gaining 4 more points.
I want to thank our amazing crew of dedicated officials. They are one of Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From non-skating officials to on-skate officials, they make it possible for us to enjoy this sport we love so much. Speak to any official or EOD member to find out how you too could be part of this awesome crew. Once again, a quick little official timeout for some track inspection and repair. Last thing we want is to have this track coming up and snagging the wheels. And we have Just Ducky on the line for the Rainbow Riders up against the Glitter Bombs, Leslie McGuire. Leslie McGuire bolting through the front wall. Meets some strong resistance, but it is through and takes lead jammer for the Glitter Bombs. Meanwhile, there is a star pass. It is now Fanny in the pack that is jamming for the Rainbow Riders. Meanwhile, Leslie McGuire makes their scoring pass and calls off the jam. Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z, your antidote for roaring travel.
Thanks, Dutch. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 8 Scream Soda. Jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we've got Casket. Scream Soda makes her way through the inside of the pack and gains lead. As Casket is still fighting their way through at the back of the pack. Scream Soda enters the engagement zone. Sneaks by on the outside of turn 2, gaining 4 points. Looks like we've had a star pass to Spitfire, who's made the initial pass. Both jammers in the engagement zone at the back of the pack. Spitfire makes it through, gaining 4 points. Scream Soda also makes it through, gaining another 4 points. Spitfire back in the engagement zone. Scream Soda in the engagement zone and calling off the jam, gaining 1 point. Spitfire also gains 1 point.
Empire Donuts. Made with a whole lot of love. Right here to our left. Again, can I really, really recommend the Earl Grey? It is fantastic.
We seem to be stuck on that Earl Grey. Maybe we need to try other ones.
Combining tea with donuts, brilliant. As brilliant as that move that Brammer's trying to make up the inside. But no. It is Poison Dart Frog that takes lead jammer for the glitter bombs. Meanwhile, Brammer recycles to the back of the pack. Poison Dart Frog is through again for their scoring pass. Poison Dart Frog come racing to the pack once again. There's one heck of a struggle going up with Hitsy Bitsy up against Just Ducky, who has taken the star. It's a star pass for the Rainbow Riders. But Poison Dart Frog, taken down by Brammer, calls off the jam. Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control over their health and well-being.
Jamming for the Glitter Bombs, we got 1-1 Sweet Tea up against teammate on the Rotten Apples, 102 Pearl Jam. The score's not right. They're missing. We're going to have a quick official timeout. There seems to be an issue with the score. End of official timeout. Everything has been sorted out. Oh, it looks like we're having a game of rock, paper, scissors. Ooh. And Sweet Tea makes her way through and gets lead. Pearl Jam is sent to the box for a cut track. Sweet Tea sneaks her way right through the middle, gaining 4 points. And it is a power jam. Sweet Tea back in the engagement zone. Some fancy footwork there in turn 2. And calls off the jam. And gains 4 points for the glitter bombs.
That's a fantastic display of sportsmanship we've seen between the jammers tonight. There's a lot of respect between the players on the track tonight. That's really awesome to see. And would also be awesome if you get yourself your 50-50 tickets. The 50-50 draw will be done during the halftime of the last game of the day. Get your 50-50 tickets now. And it is Casket. Power jam for the glitter bombs. But no, Casket has now been given a bit of a break to sit 30 seconds out in the penalty box. Whereas Pearl Jam has left the box and is now on the way back to the box. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Quick jammer exchange. Casket gets up and leaves. And Pearl Jam will serve the time that Casket just served to make it even. It will be a 2-minute jam. We will have no lead jammers in this jam. And Pearl Jam is recycled in the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Casket coming in for a scoring pass. Gets blocked at the front wall. Just Ducky holding fort. Just Ducky and Brammer. Brammer now putting the lean on Casket. Cat in the nice block that puts Casket out back into the pack. Meanwhile, Pearl Jam busting through for the scoring pass. No, it's Casket just rips through for their scoring pass as well. Now 2 jammers are both running neck and neck. Pearl Jam dragging behind a little. Casket approaching, skates around their jammers. The Glitter Bombs blockers pick up Pearl Jam. Meanwhile, the Rainbow Riders blockers making short work of Casket, sending them back to the back of the pack. Pearl Jam through on the outside, but gets stopped by the Glitter Bombs pivot. And that is the 2 minutes. Hearts and Hands, your friendly neighborhood community acupuncture and holistic health collective, here in the heart of Quadra Village.
Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 411. Slamdra Bullock. And we're starting off with a power jam as Casket 135 is still in the box. Slamdra Bullock gets lead. And as she re-engages in the engagement zone, she slips by on turn 2 on the inside, gaining 4 points. And Slamdra Bullock gets another 4 points. Casket is back on the track, making their way at the back of the pack, trying to push through. Slamdra sneaks on by, gaining another 4 points. Casket gets recycled back. Yeah, that's right. Come on, people, cheer. And we have a star pass. We now have Ultraviolet is the jammer for the Glitter Bombs. As Slamdra Bullock gets sent to the box, we now no longer have a lead, and we are in a power jam. Ultraviolet being held up at the front of the pack there by, I believe, it is 404. And Ultraviolet is sent to the box. Slamdra makes it back onto the track. And gets into the engagement zone just as the jam is naturally called off.
Playing today's modern rock, the Zone 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner. Live on the airwaves, right here, just down the street. Official timeout. Official timeout. Hello. Sure.
We are selling hot dogs outside, but they will not be available in game 2. Last call is like after like the game.
Update on the hot dogs. You can still buy hot dogs. They will not be sold during game 2, but you can grab them after this game.
Both jammers sitting in the penalty box here? Okay, ask where your official timeout is.
It's the last call for hot dogs. I got some clarification. Thanks, Wow. So there's some discussion happening about a jammer swap out, I'm gathering.
So we're issuing a late penalty to the white jammer, but because the blue jammer's penalty was reduced at the end of the previous jam because of a jammer swap, they don't get another reduction in their penalty time. So we're going to have roughly 20 seconds in the next jam where there are no jammers on the track.
Ooh, this is exciting. So there was a penalty issued to the Rainbow Riders jammer at the in between jams. But because there had already been a jammer swap out, we cannot reduce the time for Ultraviolet. So we're going to have about 20 seconds where there is no jammer. Get this, no jammer on the track.
You know what that means? 20-second dance-off.
Oh, I like that idea. I don't see a dance-off happening.
Oh, well, we've got the refs doing rock, paper, scissors. Is that
Hey.
close enough?
Right? I thought this was the Pride game. Shouldn't we be having more shenanigans?
And we're back. It's going to be an interesting start to this jam. It'll be a jammerless jam for the first 20 seconds. After we will have Ultraviolet and Slamdra Bullock, who are both starting in the penalty box, Not sure who's getting out first. Oh, it looks like it
Looks
is
like
going
the-
to be Ultraviolet. That is because the White Jammer got a late penalty towards the end, so they have to serve the remaining time. Ultraviolet is now on a power jam for the glitter bombs. And there's another penalty. Oh, there's a no pack. So the Ultraviolet gets through and is now your lead jammer. Slammer Bullock up with her team. Now hitting the defense wall up at the front of the pack. Itsy Bitsy with the block. But Slammer Bullock pulls up the inside. Makes their initial pass. And Ultraviolet calls off the jam.
So just a reminder about those few things that are on a time crunch. Get your 50-50 tickets. Look, there's Frenzy holding up the bucket. Wave her down. Get some tickets. Go home richer.
And
Go get your hot dogs. Go
Yeah,
get your
hot
cupcakes.
dogs. Now. Get your hot dogs now. No, wait. Till the end of the game.
Jamming for the glitter bombs, we've got 7, 8, 9 Spitfire up against Legs Benedict. Legs has got lead. Legs is calling it off, gaining 4 points.
River out at the far end of Quadra, drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best skateboards and gear. That's Influence Board Shop. We have Fanny in the pack for the Rainbow Riders up against Glitter Bomb's Poison Dart Frog. Fanny gets a quick jump, works on the inside. Poison Dart Frog's through on the outside, and it is Poison Dart Frog that gets lead jammer. Fanny breaks through for their initial pass. Screaming hot on the heels of Poison Dart Frog, who makes their scoring pass. Quick zip around the defense and calls off the jam. And locks out Fanny in the pack from scoring any points in that jam. A big EOD thank you to our photographers. We will look forward to revisiting today's greatest hits through your work.
Jamming for the glitter bombs, we've got 1-1 Sweet Tea. Jamming for the Rainbow Riders, we've got 8 Scream Soda, who gets lead. Sweet Tea being sent to the box for a cut track. Scream Soda enters the engagement zone. And on the outside, sneaks past, gets through, 4 points. Scream is back into the engagement zone and slips on by on the inside. Getting another 4 points. Screams go to back in the engagement zone. Finding a little bit of resistance this time. Gets knocked out and calls off the jam just as Sweet Tea gets their initial pass.
That's it.
Our unofficial score is 92 glitter bombs, 184 for the Rainbow Riders.
Go get your hot dogs, folks. Right now. You can do MVP. I don't even know who they are. You do.
Come and greet your players. Get a high five. All right, your MVPs. We ready for that? All right, for the Rainbow Riders, we've got your Jammer MVP, 911 Slamdra Boa. Your Glitter Bomb Jammer MVP, 567 Pee-wee. Your Rainbow Rider Blocker MVP, 8 Scream Soda. And your Glitter Bombs MVP blocker, 2997 Manic Pixie Mean Girl. Okay, and the Spirit Award goes to Spirit Award is going to 221.
Only 4 dogs left on the grill, folks. Stampede. Only 4 dogs left on the grill. We are down to the last 4 dogs. If you want a dog, you should probably go and get one. Okay, folks, we'll get back into it here. So I just want to acknowledge the land we're on, the Eves of Destruction, acknowledge and thank the Kosapsum Esquimalt Nation and the Songhees Nation, along with the SÄK and Pachidot, for allowing us to play the sport we love and host our events on their traditional territory. We as guests recognize this territory as unceded and honor the ongoing relationship with the land and stewardship of the ʷəŋən speaking people. We are honored to live on this land and are working towards reconciliation, decolonization, and building relationships in our communities. A few local organizations you can support are Victoria Native Friendship Center, Raven Trust for Environmental Justice, and ComChem, Coastal Connections Indigenous Harm Reduction and Health Services.
All right, here we go. Ready to introduce you to the two teams for the second game of the evening. Skating for the Bells of the Brawl in blue, we have Zero Regrettal, 007 Tuffy, 02 Bazooka Langley, 03 Batty Bing Batty Boom, 0504 SÄ Solo, 12 Bruise Clues, 127 Sky Lord of the Rings, 13 Slam It Janet, 14 Kitty Catapults, 17 Banshee, 1701 Ruby Roughhouser, 180 Nervous Wreckage, 23 Green Bean, 27 Honey Cruller, 321 Dita Von Terror, 333 Shirley Temple of Doom, 501 Panic Attack, 78 Jerry Can, 89 Lank the Tank. Bench staff for the Bells of the Brawl tonight, Kamikaze K, Violet Criminal, and I already announced him, but Kitty Catapult is there too.
And for the black team representing the Daisy Pushers, we have 011 Natural Born Spiller, number 19 Gravity Assist, number 111 Draginda Dirt, 21 Charlie Hearse, 33 Poison Dart Frog, 3791 Slayer Moon, 40 Wheels of Fortune, number 46 Hot Flash, 555 Chaos, number 61 Veronica D. Vile, number 616 Lucifer, 654 Goose, number 68 Duchess of Death, number 7 Shango, number 73 Tombstone, 818 Hitsy Bitsy, sorry, that was 808 Hitsy Bitsy, number 82 Ukulele, 903 Skate Bush, and number 94 Morning Glory. On the bench we have Flawless, we have Florence the Machine, And as well, Shen, go.
And we can't get started without our officials, non-skating officials for the second game this evening. Head NSO VREX, Jam Timer Mint, penalty lineup trackers Terminator and Bossy Pants, scoreboard operator Rolando Furioso, score quick keepers Left on Red and Pinky and the Pain, penalty box manager Trish Trash, penalty box timers Brawl Patrol and Nailer, and wrangling those penalties tonight, it's Raven.
I would like to introduce your officials for this game. We have our head ref, Otter Mayhem. We have our inside pack ref, Wiener. Jam ref, Mill Street Bruisery. Jam ref, Om's Lawbringer. Outside pack ref, Audrey Rugburn. Outside pack ref, Faffinabout. And we have outside pack ref, Hunky Dorky.
And I'd like to introduce my announcer in crime, Hurls, and I'm Fanny in the pack, and off we go. Honey Crueler on the line for the Brawlers, Slayer Moon for the Daisy Pushers. Honey's already pushing the Pushers' offense to the very front of the engagement zone and is out quickly, indicated as lead as the Tombs takes the star passes and is headed around in scoring position. Honey up the inside line, survives an attempted hit by Chuck, calls off the jam for the game's first 4 points.
The Eves of Destruction would wish to thank all the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them tonight, consider if you too would like to help keep us rolling through 2026. Contact us at sponsorship@evesofdestruction.com. Second jam is underway here. We have Gravy and Lord jamming for each team. Gravy gets out. Lead jammer. Looks like Lord is looking for a star pass, looking for the pivot. Passes the helmet cover. And that makes Tuffy the jammer for the Brawlers. Gravy calls it off before Tuffy can come back through.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. That's drag into dirt and Panic Attack on the jam line. Panic Attack already pressing against the Pushers' defense at the front, but it's Dirt who's up the outside line with one blocker to beat. Quick tumble, but back up again. Whistled lead jammer and already on a scoring pass. Panic recycled by Chuck to the back of the pack. Having to reset and pass all those pusher blockers again. Daisy Pushers in control of this first jam with Panic still not quite out of the pack. Tombs trying hard at the front. Chuck taking Panic down for one more spill, but Panic is clear of the Pushers' defense as Dirt is still trying to score. Hands hitting the hips and calling off the jam for 4 points. Bringing the total of the jam Pushers 2 points.
The Zone at 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock. The Zone is live on the airways from right here in Victoria.
Pardon me, Pushers did put up some points on the board there. I'm just waiting to be sure. Bells of the Brawl held to 4 points on that jam. Yeah, and Daisy Pushers with a total of 6, so nice tight game off the hop.
We have our full contingency here as we have all the blockers on the track. Looks like Goose is stuck behind all those brawlers at the back there. Coming in contact with Slaya. Takes the helmet cover off as Honey is coming around. Honey re-entering the pack for her first scoring pass. Chaos quickly behind has received the star.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road or on site here tonight. Tuffy on the line for her first jam. Mo's back out for the Daisy Pushers. Tuffy just popped to the inside line, is back on the track already, fighting that tripod of the Pushers. Both of these teams are defending strong this evening, making the jammers work incredibly hard for those passes. Mo with one to beat at the front. Banshee, known for solid one-on-one blocking, is holding, but Mo does manage to get around Banshee and picks up lead jammer status for the Pushers. Pushers with the opportunity to hold on to that small lead they've got. The Pushers are still holding Tuffy at the back of the pack as they're looking to get Mo out for this first scoring pass of that jam. 4 more points, bringing the Pushers to 10 as Tuffy does make it out of the pack, puts that helmet cover back on. Mo's still scoring, but opts to tap and call it off before Tuffy can come around for more points. 2 more points on the board for the Pushers for a total of 12 for that jam, holding the Brawlers at 4.
We have Batty Bing, Batty Boom, number 03, lining up to jam, as well as number 19, Gravity Assist for our 2 jammers. Again, with the full contingency here, we have all of these blockers to get through. Making our first contact here. Gravy going up the inside line, and oh, there's a little entanglement happening. Whoopsies. Batty's being pulled back by Vile. Everybody's still in the straightaway here. Batty gets hit to the outside by Chaos. Chaos running back. Vile also coming back with them. Batty coming in behind all of those blockers. Gravy coming around on turn 2 there and getting out. Gravy with lead jam coming back around the track. About to hit the pack in the first apex there. Skating around the outside, getting hit out, going back around. Batty has removed the helmet cover and is coming in behind as well. Coming back all the way over to the first straightaway there. Panic meeting up with Batty. As we all know, the stripe helmet cover is the pivot. That is the person that can receive the star pass. Off Gravy goes to the penalty box. This is a power jam. Star pass complete. Panic coming around, making it through. We have all the Daisy Pushers lined up there on turn number 2. Hitting Panic to the inside, hitting Panic to the outside. Panic is also going to go to the penalty box for a cut, as he did have both hands down on the ground outside of the track. Gravy making their way through. And the jam is off.
That's 4 more points for each team, bringing the total 8 for the Bells of the Brawl, 16 for the Daisy Pushers. Just want to thank our amazing crew of dedicated officials. They are one of Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From our non-skating officials to on-skates officials, they make it possible for us to all enjoy the sport we love so much. Speak to any of our officials or an EOD member to find out how you too can be a part of this awesome crew. And that is Dragon to Dirt with the first, second and third power jam, something like that, of the game. Dirt is out for a quick lead. Penalty being whistled to Devon Terror. Dirt passing the Brawlers out front of turn 2 for a 4-point pass. eligible for another scoring pass as Panic Attack back in the game. Working on that initial pass. Dirt at the front of the pack facing Tank. Ruby Roughhouser, SlliA. Solid defense, but Dirt does find a path around the outside and puts up 4 more points for the Pushers as Panic is out and on a scoring pass. Dirt looking to put up a few more points, taps the hips and does call it off before Panic is eligible to score. 4 more points for the Pushers, opening that gap to 28-8. Early in the game, nothing that can't be made up, but it is a nice, solid, strong start for the Daisy Pushers. Should probably talk about how the winner of this game is going on to the...
Is it Jam 7?
8 will be next. It'll change as soon as the whistle goes.
Underway in Jam 8, we have Goose and Honey having a little bit of contact there right off the jam line. Honey just gets up the inside line there and gets lead coming back around. The rest of the pack is still over near the jam line, actually. Honey coming into contact with those 2 Daisy Pusher blockers at the front, pushing Chaos all the way up, doing a spin and coming back through. Goose kind of stuck at the back of that tripod there, however, does make it up that inside line. Tombstone coming out of the box and then making a little bit of contact with Honey on the inside line there. And that's it for Jam 8, folks.
With some pretty fancy footwork on the inside line by both Honey and Goose. And then Goose with the attempt to block Honey at the back of the pack. But Honey was dominant that jam. Powerful pushing against the defense. Picking off one blocker after the next for points, points, points. Points, points, points. Thank you. Somebody's repeating me back. I like it. We got up there. What's Lord? And that's Lord for the Brawlers, already on the scoring pass as lead jammer. Mo quickly removing the helmet cover, pressing at the front of the pack on that initial pass. Lord set to score is hit to the outside and down. That's by Shrub and Bile and Spiller at the back. That's a solid tripod as the pack itself is up front. A tripod out of play at the back does continue to force Lord out of bounds as Mo hands off the star to Chaos, but Chaos quickly hit out to the inside line on the apex, has to recycle, so Daisy Pushers still stuck on that initial pass. Lord also hit to the inside line. Mo with the attempted drawback, but does have to have position on the jammer in order to successfully draw the cut. So Lord is still in play and working on points. Chaos fighting against 2 more brawlers at the front. Banshee down and Chaos around on the outside. We've made a full lap on this this jam, which is rare. Derby usually goes into turn 1, 2, and then a call off, but we got a whole lap of Derby out of that jam. And we did get the call off, but that was only 4 points for the Brawlers. A lot of hard work for 1 scoring pass, bringing us 19 for the Brawlers, 28 for the Pushers.
That was a rough and tumble Jam 9 there. Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z is the antidote to boring travel. Here we have Batty and Gravy up against each other again. These Daisy Pusher tripod at the back here up against Batty. Panic giving a little bit of offense for Batty. Gravy's made their way out of the pack. Most of the action is happening here on the pivot line. Panic Attack coming around the outside, going through. Gravy coming out right behind, calling it off by tapping their hips. That will end the jam if you have lead jammer status.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients. I think you need to visit their shop right now because I think I might have the last 2 donuts here. Give me a wave if you still have donuts. No, they're shaking their heads. I'm sorry, but you got to get here early for those delicious
Donuts are
sweet
gone.
donuts. But we thank you because we love you so much, and I will forever eat the donuts.
Forever.
Official timeout, allowing the teams to chat out their plans for the next jam.
Beautiful tape on the track there. Thank you so much, Prime and Hell. Dirt making contact right at the back there against the Brawler tripod, then sneaking around the outside. However, Banshee catches at the front. Dirt makes her way out. Honey getting recycled up the inside, coming in behind Chuck. A little bit of contact there. A little bit more contact there. A little bit rough and tumble here at the pivot line, and we're going to call that jam off. Jam has been called off. Jam is done. Thank you so much to our officials for keeping us safe.
And on that note, we'll have an official timeout.
So, Fanny,
So Hurls,
what's
Are you
going to
looking
happen
forward-
next?
are you looking forward to finding out who's going to play the Margarita Villains on August 8th at the Calamity Cup?
I just want to know.
We just want to know so bad. Who's it going to be?
Don't forget about the 50-50 tickets that are being sold. It's
right.
really running out of time for 50-50.
Okay, we got Goose and we've got, I believe, Tuffy on the jam line. It's Goose up the inside line for lead jammer status. Tuffy fighting Tombstone at the front of the pack. Spiller also, that was Wheels of Fortune at the front of the pack too, but Tuffy also out and eligible to score. Goose is fighting and fighting, but looks like only skipped past maybe 1 to 2 opposing blockers. That was 2 points. 2 hips, 2 points. 4 hips, 2 sets of hips.
And
Daisy
thank
Pusher.
Thank you so much, St. John's Ambulance, for coming and also really helping keep us safe as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We always have a set of usually paramedics on site to make sure that we are well attended to, and it's just really a privilege to have available volunteers every evening that we play. I think it's you. Panic Attack lead jammer for this jam. First Brawlers lead in a little bit, but Panic Attack well known for fast scoring passes. That is 4 points on the board for the Brawlers, but Chuck on the chase down after that star pass. Panic looking for points. Begins passing some hips, does pass Slayer Moon and Veronica D. Vile for 2 points before the call off, holding the Brawlers at 0 for that jam. Holding the Pushers. Sorry, that was the Brawlers putting up 6 total points, bringing them to 25 and closing that gap to 11.
Only minutes left to get in on that 50-50 action. If you want 50-50 tickets, go and get them. We have Honey and Gravy lined up here, and jam number 14 is underway. Gravy facing 4 big Brawler blockers at the back there. Honey pushing and making her way out. Coming around. A lot of action happening over at the pivot line. Tombstone has accepted the helmet cover and come back around, putting the cover on their head and then entering the back of the pack as a jammer. Honey calls it off before that can happen. Heart and Hands, your friendly neighborhood community acupuncture and holistic health collective in the heart of Quadra Village.
Brawlers with 2 lead jammer status in a row, picking away at the gap that the Pushers set up early in the game. So we've got Skylord on the line for the Brawlers. Is Skylord ready to score points? We shall find out shortly. Dragon to Dirt challenging Skylord for lead jammer status for the Pushers. Is it my turn or your turn? I'm losing track.
I'm also losing track. Maybe just keep going.
That's Lord for lead jammer for the Brawlers. 3 in a row for the Brawlers, but Dirt on A scoring pass as well. Lord fighting for points now. Dirt approaching. I do think the call-off happened before the Pushers could score. That's 2 more for the Brawlers.
These are
Uncontested.
fast little jams.
It's very physical tonight, too. A lot of hard hits from the jammers. Honey Cruller in particular is very physical, very strong jammer. Plenty of leads out there for the Brawlers.
I am seeing a lot of bodies hitting the ground.
It's like we're at a roller derby game or something.
Timeout for the Daisy Pushers. Well, I think no matter who comes out victorious, we are going to be ready for them. The Zone at 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock. The Zone is live on the airwaves from right here in Victoria. How's everybody liking this so far at our Victoria Curling Club? Pretty fun. And we have Jam 15. Goose and Panic Attack lined up here. Hands on hips a little bit. Brawlers all lined up at the back. We have the full blocking contingency. Best of luck to everybody.
It has been a fairly low penalty game so far.
Pass off the line. What do we have here?
A fancy surprise star pass right off the line.
We do have the lead jammer out in the front, however. Entering the pack first and eligible to, yes, call it off. Let's see what points we did get. Yeah, 4-0.
Smart play by the Pushers to get that star out of the pack so quickly, knowing that Panic Attack is such a strong, fast jammer. Didn't quite work in their favor, and that brings the
Almost.
game 35-36.
Ooh.
Amazing close game for our fans this evening. We just want to say thank you to our fans for coming out tonight. We really appreciate you all. We also can't make this happen multiple times a year without your support, so thanks again for joining us. Honey Cruller out lead jammer for the Brawlers. I think that's 5 or 6 now in a row for the Brawlers lead jammer status, helping them close this gap. With Honey Cruller in the pack and passing opposing skaters, that'll be 4 points on the board for the Brawlers and the game's first lead change. Honey Cruller calls off the jam to protect that lead change, and we now have a score of 36 for the Pushers, 39 for the Bells of the Brawl.
You know what to do during a lead change, right?
Sip, sip. I said sip, sip. I just heard some Brawlers fans in the crowd. How about Pushers fans? Let's hear from you. Oh,
Well
little competition. Brawlers fans, you better answer back.
Gravy up against this tripod at the back here. We've got Doom, Regrettal, Banshee makes it around the tripod, comes out the front of the pack. Lord being pulled back by a tombstone there. Takes the helmet cover off and passes it over. Gravy's skating along that inside line, making their way back around. Tuffy on their heels. That was a tight race there, and we can see it in the points. 1 point per. It's a tight game. 40-41. Every point counts.
Another lead change. Pushers slightly ahead of the Brawlers now with 9:50 remaining in the first half, going to Jam 19. Batty bing, batty boom on the line for the Brawlers. Drag into dirt for the Pushers. Nice little crowd at the back of the pack. Brawlers wall with Chaos in the middle to start the defense against Batty. Batty finding space up the inside line. Takes a hit to the floor. Dirt on the inside line as well, but whistled for a high block is sent to the box. So we've got Batty on a power jam. With a quick handoff to Panic, we've got Panic Attack on the power jam, eligible to score for the Bells of the Brawl. This will be a 2-minute jam as there was no lead. Panic with a duck to the outside line, uncontested on that scoring pass for 4 points. Apex jump for another 4. The Brawlers helping with a goat at the back, holding Veronica DeVile. Panic with another duck to the outside, and already at 12 points this jam. Dirt coming into the jam from the penalty box. Attempts her own Apex jump, but denied by Bazooka Langley. Panic Attack now held by the pushers at the front of the pack. Spinning to the inside, completes that 4th scoring pass, 16 points for the Brawlers as Dirt has completed her initial pass, now eligible to score. Again, this is a 2-minute jam as we have no lead jammer, so Panic continues to score. Checks with the bench to make sure that he's able to continue on safely. Dirt with 4 points on the board for the pushers. Plenty of time left for both teams to score before this jam ends. Brawlers have the pushers defense separated as Panic is back in the pack and scoring. Dirt is dragged to the back of the pack by the Brawlers blockers. As Panic has made a 6th scoring pass and is at 24 points this jam for the Brawlers. The Brawlers can celebrate that lead change, bringing the total of that jam to 45 points, 49 points for the pushers, 64 for the Brawlers. Pushers have some ground to make up going into jam 20.
If you were wondering why there was no lead jammer able to tap their hips and call the jam off there, we do have rules for that. As one of the jammers did go to the box and the other jammer had received a star pass, neither of them were eligible for lead jammer status. Drop into the Influence board shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear. Here we are underway in jam number 20. We have Goose up at the front there, making their way out of the pack. Here we are on the first Apex. Ruby pushing over Tombstone. Honey coming out of the front of the pack there. Ruby going to the penalty box. Goose just sliding on through that whole pack there. Honey approaching the tripod at the back. Getting hit out to the inside by Glory. Honey gonna give that another try. Trying to go up the inside again. Success on the inside line makes it out. Goose is stuck up against Tank and Slay at the front and decides, I'll just call it off, actually.
Incredibly fast gameplay this evening as both of these teams are anticipating a win and another game in August against the Margarita Villains. Pushers close that gap by another 3 points with a 7-4 score in that jam. Slayer Moon back on the line for the pushers. Tuffy for the Brawlers.
Each team starting
Tuffy with
down a blocker.
Tuffy with heavy contact off the line, but is caught up behind Chaos at the back of the pack. Doesn't last long as Tuffy's now out front, and lead jammer Chaos catching up to Tuffy. Pops Tuffy out of bounds. Tuffy having to reset behind Chaos, who sucked back all the way. Tuffy with a huge move on the inside line. That was a spin, one hand down, and managed to stay in bounds as Mo still fighting for the initial pass with the helmet cover off. Chaos positioning herself for a pass if required. They got to get that helmet cover out in order to be eligible to score. Otherwise, Tuffy will go uncontested. Tuffy does call off the jam, ending that jam with 2 points for 3 points. Thank you. Got to get that ref to turn his hand, and there we go. I see those 3 points for the Brawlers. Their total now 71. Pushers 56.
A big EOD thank you to our tireless photographers. We look forward to revisiting today's greatest hits through your work. Batty and Gravy at it again. Brawlers on the back line yet again. Daisy Pushers sucking back so that all the blockers are mixed up together a little bit there next to the jammer line. Gravy tries going to the inside, but is up against Zooks there. Tries going to the outside, up against Regrettal there. Batty having a little bit more luck at the front, doing some pushing. Pushing on Yuki and Glory, and Gravy makes it out. Lead jammer status.
Did you see that spin that Gravy did around Regrettal on the outside line? Just wrapped their body
Nice.
around and ducked underneath for a clean pass.
Hit out by Zooks, decides to call it off. Zero to 3 on that last pass.
Cloverdale Paint has helped keep our track going for over 13 years. Check out their newly opened store in Souk. Five seconds until we see Goose and Honey face off on the jam line. Zook's pushing past the back wall hosted by the Brawlers, fighting against Lank the Tank at the front and Dita Von Terror. Tank just wrapped around Goose, while Honey also opposed by 2 pushers at the back of the pack. Now 3 as they form into a bit of a scrambled tripod. Dutchy with the drawback as Goose is finally out the front of the pack. Whistled lead jammer, but Tank recycling, making Goose fight as hard as possible for that pass. Goose now out of the engagement zone and eligible to score. Honey drawn back by Chaos. Helmet cover in hand, potential star pass. Zooks with a smooth hop to the outside for the first scoring pass of that jam. 4 points on the board for the pushers. Lank the Tank pivot for the Brawlers heads to the penalty box for a forearm call. Goose with another 4 points on the board for the pushers as Honey is out on the initial for the Brawlers. Hard fight against the pushers blockers for that jam. Goose is scoring again. Steps around Ruby at the front of the pack. Calls off the jam. Another 4 points. And what do we have on the board? 71-71. And a tie with 2 minutes left in the first half.
And we are hearing it from these fans. Everyone is really excited. This is a close game. It actually doesn't get any closer than this.
Thank you, Hurls.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being. Dirt making it out. Everybody's on the pivot line. Dirt's coming back through, up against Doom and Regrettal. Some contact there, goes through their arms. Comes around the outside of the track. We have Lord up against Uke. Makes her way out of the front. Dirt coming back around to score. Some fast skating. Just got to get around Lank the Tank and calls it off. It's so fast, I can barely announce fast enough.
I can't keep track of who's in the lead either because these are all my friends. I'm like, my friends are winning. Oh my goodness. 8 more points for the pushers brings them to the lead. 79-71 to the Brawlers. Panic Attack and Slayer Moon on the line for their respective teams. And an empty penalty box, so lots of contact in the pack because lots of players on the track. Whistle goes and Mo is pushing against the Brawlers blockers. Panic fighting a line of Daisy Pushers, but Mo out with lead jammer status, hoping to extend the pushers' lead. Huge hit into the back of Slam It Janet, and I believe we got Mo going to the penalty box for a back block. Panic now with an opportunity. Attempts a spinning apex jump, but doesn't quite land. Now fighting a Daisy Pusher tripod at the front, but that defense is solid. You've really got to give it up for the blockers in this game. I thought it was going to be a jammers game at the start, but these blockers are denying jammers tonight. Panic on the outside line, finally with that initial pass, and we will go 2 minutes as no lead jammer anymore. Panic eligible to score. Pusher's a bit separated on the track, so Panic makes it through for 4 points. Pushers spread out to the maximum at the front of the pack as Panic comes around, but they regroup. We've got Mo back on the track for the Pushers on the outside line. Does step out of bounds, hits the floor and has to recycle. Looks like NIRD with the long drawback. Panic around for another 4 points. Panic attack is working so hard, but we do have another tie on the board. Just for a moment, Panic in scoring position again has already passed Chaos and posting points to the board. Mo fighting to get past the Brawlers' defense. A wall of Zooks slamming NIRD, though, making it so hard for Mo to find space. Panic in the same situation. These blockers are not allowing an inch on the track.
This is so incredible.
I feel bad for the jammers in that jam. That was a blockers jam. Let's really give it up for the blockers from both the Pushers and the Brawlers. You are watching some incredible roller derby tonight. 11 points for the Brawlers brings them to 82, but those 4 points for the Pushers, and they hold the lead at 83 points.
That was phenomenal.
That was amazing roller
There's
derby.
a lot of hard effort going on out there. Amazing.
I didn't even realize we were at halftime because I was so enthralled by that last jam.
Enthralled, certainly.
Enthralled. All right, make sure you grab some refreshments if there's still some available. Check out our vendor booths. You can support in many ways. Support our charter teams, support our juniors, our hardcores, or just enjoy the game that you already came to see because we know that you came to support your favorite skaters. We much appreciate that.
It is last call, by the way. Last call. So if you want to buy your drink ticket, last chance.
In case you don't know, last call means last call for Driftwood Brewery over on my left, your right. So come on over for your last opportunity for refreshments before we settle back in for, oh my God, an amazing second half.
$150. Who's gonna win it? Can I get a drum roll, please? We have a winning blue ticket. Maybe I can say this loudly enough so everyone outside can hear that we're announcing the 50-50. We are announcing the 50-50. I'm going to read out the number on this blue ticket. 4628740. 4628740. Last three numbers. 740. Oh, what do we have? We have a blue ticket. 4628740.
If you're in the parking lot, don't miss your opportunity. If you bought a blue ticket, you might be the winner.
If you are the winner, can you please put your hand in the air? Hey! Congratulations! You've won $150.
We are less than a minute to the second half of this incredible bout. Just want to give one more shout out to our amazing officials. Our officials are one of the Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. Our non-skating officials, our on-skates officials, they make it possible for us to all enjoy the sport that we love. Please speak to any official or EOD member to find out how you can also be a part of this amazing crew. You can learn to roller skate and become a referee, or you can not skate and be a non-skating official. You can do a bit of both, or if you already have some skating skills in your pocket, that's great too, but we would love to have you as a part of our community. Thank you so much to our officials. No, probably you.
The Zone at 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner. Playing today's modern rock, the Zone is live on the airways from right here in Victoria. Period 2 underway.
Is that time management with the 5-second call at the front of the pack?
Ha ha ha. And they're off. Mo is pushed the blockers all the way to the pivot line. Honey falling over to the outside, getting recycled back by Chuck over near the jam line. The tripod at the front really locking it down. There's not a lot of movement going on that pivot line. Mo is there. Honey getting recycled and hit out by Chuck again on the inside line this time. Meeting up with Wheels and Chuck there, taking a moment to reassess. This is a slow-moving jam here. These blockers are holding it down. Absolutely treacherous. We have finally made it towards the apex. We are halfway through this jam already, and it is a bit of a slog.
No lead jammer for either jammer at this point. Two tripods bridged by their fourth skater with no jammer gaining any sort of ground at this point in time. No, 30 seconds left in the jam, and we have Mo out as your lead jammer.
Here we go. We do have lead jam. And Tank takes the star and makes it out of the front of the pack as well. Tank taking a turn around, coming towards the apex, but Mo calls it off first. Whew, that was
Almost
a doozy.
Almost 2 full minutes for those 4 points.
Seeing a lot of flushed faces, rightly so.
Such a different jam than the one we ended the first half with, starting off with such a slow slog of a jam, as you called it. 87 for the Pushers, 82 for the Brawlers, and we've got Sky, Lord of the Rings, and Gravity Assist on the line. Chaos with some intimidation tactics at the back of the pack. Skylord fighting against Pushers Tripod. Gravy pushing at the front of the pack, but might not stay the front of the pack for long as these two blocking groups close in on one another. Tuffy with the offensive moves for Lord, and Lord is out for the Brawlers as lead jammer and an opportunity to seek that lead change. Just 5 points behind, so not a lot of ground to make up as Lord coming in for their first scoring pass. Gravy still fighting the Brawlers defense at the front of the pack. Pivot not in sight at the moment, so Gravy's got to do that work. Lord still fighting on that initial pass, was drawn back by the Pushers blockers. Regrettal has Gravy at almost a standstill. Doom helping with that incredible blocking. Doom stepped to the inside line, has to recycle. That's Banshee at the front of the pack, trying to keep Chaos out of range of Gravy for the star pass. Chaos to the box, and Gravy out on their initial pass. Lord does finish that 4-point scoring pass, calls off the jam before Gravy can put anything up on the board. Now a 1-point game with the Brawlers at 86, Pushers at 87.
Did you do this? You did this one again, didn't you? Zone?
I did, yeah. Thank you to the St. John's ambulance attendants on site all weekend.
Meaning this evening. Can you tell we use our tournament notes for the... That's
Jam 3 of period 2. Dirt makes it out the front of the pack. Coming around. Batty hit out to the inside. We do have one blocker in the box for the Daisy Pushers. Dirt skirting around on the inside line. Coming back around again. Slamma has taken the helmet cover, but is up against Tombstone at the front. Being held up there. And Yuki as well. Chaos coming out. And Slamma coming back around the track. Dirt making another lap, but then calls it off.
And we'll have an official timeout. In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road. I believe they're closed up for the evening, but thanks to everybody who supported their business on site tonight. Official timeout wraps up, and we will be back into the game shortly with Panic Attack for the Brawlers, Charlie Hurst for the Pushers. Pushers step back to try to stop Panic's run up, but Panic takes advantage on the inside line with a quick lead jammer status. Chuck is also out of the pack on a scoring pass. Panic approaching for points with the apex jump. Calling off the jam with 4 points and holding the Pushers to 0 on that one, closing that gap to a 90-point game for the Brawlers to the Pushers 95. And an official review being called by the Brawlers. So each team has an official review per half. I don't think we saw any official reviews in the first half. When the team calls the official review, the referees will confer with one another as to whether or not they'll make the call that's being requested. If the team requesting the official review wins their first review, they will retain it and have the opportunity to make another review during the half. They are capped to 2 reviews per half, but if they lose their first official review, they do not get another one. So they usually save it for something pretty important and something they're confident they may get a call on.
It's all very serious. We're all very serious here tonight, isn't that right, everyone? Very serious.
So the Brawlers were requesting a track cut call, but the officials had already issued the track cut that the Brawlers were requesting. So the call won't be made in the favor of the Brawlers because it was already called, but the Brawlers, oh, I think this is the Pushers. I'm seeing the Pushers flashing. The call that was requested had already been called. So the team requesting the call will retain their official review. Everyone still has one.
All we
I thought it
know,
was the Brawlers that requested the review, but it looks like it was the Pushers.
something we know is that the officials are all over it.
Yeah, the announcers, not so much. Not this one.
Wow, 95 to 90. Still so close. Anyone's game, really.
Okay, now that I'm looking around the track a little bit, it does appear that makes sense that the Pushers would have requested that because it's Panic Attack sitting in the box for the Brawlers. So my brain is now straightening out. We will start on a power jam with looks like Slayer Moon to jam for the Daisy Pushers.
Wowzer has come up to the announcing booth just to highlight an opportunity for all these skaters tonight. If you lay a large enough hit that you can hit someone out on that first apex, you may or may not have an opportunity to knock over that beer can pyramid.
I understand. So there's a beer can pyramid or two forming at the top of the first turn of the track. Slayer Moon is your lead jammer status. We'll talk about beer cans later.
Slayer Moon coming back around. It's eerily silent here. Oh, and now we do have some action forming. Trying to make through on the inside. Getting a... Oh, Banshee going in the box.
Direction of gameplay call against Banshee.
Tuffy hits Mo down. Mo getting back up. Facing Doom and Tuffy and Regrettal.
And Panic attacking the back wall of the Daisy Pushers. Tombs hoping for the drawback call, but Panic Attack is fighting at the front of the pack and out on initial pass.
Hotel Z rebels against the ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z is the antidote to boring travel.
It's my turn, but I took some of your turn, so you go ahead.
We've got Gravy and Lord, and we have the Daisy Pusher tripod at the back there, and then Brawler tripod up ahead of them. Gravy coming around the outside, Slamma hitting them out, drawing them back. Gravy making a little bit of contact with Slaya and then just going up the inside there and coming out for lead jammer status. Lord on the apex there, just Vile to beat, coming out of the front of the pack. Gravy hitting the back of the pack, coming back through. Scoring a couple of points, calling it off.
3 points for the Pushers on the board for that last jam. A 102 for the Pushers now. Bells of the Brawl at 90. Heading into jam 7 of this second half with 22.5 minutes remaining. Honey Crueler getting set up on the line behind Dirt, ready for the next jam to start. 8 skaters blocking this jam at the start. Dirt already up against the Brawlers 4. Honey putting pressure on Tombs and Glory at the back of the Pushers tripod. Wheels pop to the outside, taken out of the defensive formation for a moment, and that's Dirt heading off to the penalty box. So we will see a 30-second power jam for Honey Crueler, which allows Honey to get lead jammer status for the Brawlers, giving that opportunity they so much need in order to close the gap, stay in this game. A little bit of offense from Dita, but Dita takes a tumble, and Honey finishes off the rest of the work of that scoring pass, putting 4 points on the board for the Brawlers. Brawlers setting up some offense, but allow Honey to approach the pack. Honey tap to the outside line. Tombs with the drawback. Honey has to go all the way back to the back of the engagement zone, as Dirt is now back on the track and fighting for initial pass. Brawlers have crowded Dirt to the outside line. Dirt attempts the inside line, but is brought back to the out. Dirt almost past the Brawlers wall, but Zook's causing some trouble at the front of the pack. Dirt is now out on their initial pass. Honey opts to call the jam off rather than fight for points with both jammers in the pack. So calls that jam off with 8 points for the Brawlers, 98 to the Pushers 102, and we're back with a very close score.
Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients. Full blocker contingency out here for jam number 7 in period 2. We have Goose and Batty lined up right next to each other. Approach the jam line there. Both at the back of the pack, there is a little bit of a scrum action going on. Goose just doomed to beat on the inside line at the front, but the Brawlers recycle up forward to join their teammates. We have Goose pushing the Brawlers out the end of that apex. Banshee off to the box for a forearm penalty. Tuffy holding Goose at the front. And out of play, Goose gets lead jammer. Batty removes the cover, passes it to Tuffy. Tuffy skating out of the apex as well. Goose right behind her. Goose calls it off. Heart and Hands, your friendly neighborhood community acupuncture and holistic health collective in the heart of Quadra Village.
Panic Attack and Slayer Moon on the line. We've seen this matchup 1 or 2 times already this game. Brawlers down a blocker off the whistle. And the Pushers with a second star pass off the line. Puts Chuck in scoring position, but not lead jammer status. So Panic now fighting for lead jammer status. Does get the lead jam call. And now also eligible to score. Looking for some points before taking advantage of that lead jammer status. Charlie Hurst already in scoring position for the Pushers. Hopping to the outside line is hit out and drawn back by the Brawlers defense. Both jammers scored 4 points so far this jam, but Panic now on another scoring pass. Hops up the inside line, but recognizes that he's touched out of bounds and needs to reset. Chuck now has 4 more points on the board for the Pushers. Panic calls off the jam at the request of his bench. And right at the end of that jam, I believe we had a jammer penalty issued. So yes, that will be Chuck starting the next jam in the penalty box, putting the Brawlers on a power jam for the first 30 seconds.
What a
of jam
strategy
10.
that was.
That star pass off the line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
sometimes
an
if you
8 to
just
8
want to
jam.
get scoring, you throw your pivot in as your jammer and just start doing the work. And I've seen the Pushers do that, use that strategy twice this evening. It's actually a bit of an old school move. I think we started seeing those star passes off the line maybe around 2014, 2013 even. We don't see them too often anymore, probably because they were being used too frequently and then the pivots would just get caught up in the pack. But now it's a good time to bring it back if you just want to get out there and start scoring right away without having to worry
Yeah.
about passing all the blockers in the first pass.
Especially if you're just feeling a bit cheeky.
It is a cheeky move for sure. So we've got an 8-point spread now. So this game is still just as tight as it has been from the beginning. More than half of this second half left to go.
How's everyone's fingernails doing? They're still there?
Yeah, your hair's still intact, or are you pulling it out in clumps?
It's quite a nail biter. So we will be starting this off with a power jam by the looks of things.
Yeah, looks like we've got relatively balanced penalties on each team. 7 for the Brawlers. And then a few more on the Pushers side, but it hasn't stopped them from keeping the lead for a bit in this game. Only 1 skater with 4 penalties on the board at this time. That is 2-1 Chuck in the box now for a back block. Everybody else with safely 2 or fewer penalties. So nobody really at risk of fouling out at this point in the game. So we've seen a lot of jam starts with all 8 blockers on the track, 2 jammers. So it's been a lot of clean play. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen a penalty board with that few penalties. It's really clean.
Okay, the power jam begins. The Brawlers pushing on the outside line there to try and clear that. Honey goes up the inside, however. Gets hit out to the end, right back onto the track. Up against those Daisy Pushers. Here we come around the apex. Everyone's regrouping a little bit, giving Honey a chance to come up against those Daisy Pusher blockers at the front.
If
Just waiting in place.
If I was a jammer, I would just be appalled at that defense. Just gross on a power jam, not getting out right off the hop. We got Chuck back in.
We have both jammers on the track here, both eligible for lead. Chuck looking at that inside outside line. Little tippy toe action, gets out, gets lead. Honey taking that helmet cover off. Looking for Tuffy the pivot, passes the panty. Chuck entering the back of the pack here again. Coming up against Zooks, coming up against Honey, coming up against Zooks. Getting a little action there, calling it off.
Zook's putting on quite a defensive show at the back of the pack to keep Chuck from getting all 4 points.
Little bit of alternating blocker there. Little Zooks, little Banshee, little Zooks. Here we go again.
A little bit of Tuffy. A little bit of Tuffy. Da, da, da.
Here we have Length the Tank and Drag into Dirt.
Tank's first jam of the evening for the Brawlers. We have seen Tank with the pivot, but not the jammer star. Dirt up the outside line for a quick lead jammer status for the Pushers. Tank still fighting the Pushers blocking formation as the Brawlers set up at the back to prevent points by Dirt. Dirt already passing hips in the pack, makes her way past the tripod around Nerve at the front and puts 4 points up on the board for the Pushers, opening that score a little more for the Pushers. Tank with the helmet cover off makes it out on her own and eligible to score. Pushers bench yelling for the call off as Dirt calls off the jam. 4 more points on the board for the Pushers and preventing the Brawlers from scoring at all in Jam 11, bringing the score 125 to the Brawlers 106.
Wow. This is very exciting. Don't forget those beer can pyramids are over there for the taking.
I'm pointing right at it. If you can hit your opponent out, hit those beer cans. I don't know what your prize is, but respect to you.
Lord making out of the front of the pack, even not past the pivot line there and already getting lead jammer status.
Tuffy
She's
with the
coming back
magic
around.
on the outside line, puts Goose out of bounds, but stays in herself for the drag back.
Goose with the helmet cover in their hand, putting it back on their head now. Lord gesturing to call the jam off there. I would probably do the same thing if Chaos was blocking me.
And if Goose was approaching for points, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So are you gonna go to Swans later?
What? I actually can stay tonight. That's exciting.
That is really exciting.
I don't get to stick around that often.
Join all your favorite skaters at Swan's Pub for the Eves of Destruction after party tonight.
Jam is on with Panic at the back of the pack with spin move on the inside line, but does get hit out by Tombs starting again at the back. No pack is called. Blockers have to reform the pack before they can block. Slayer Moon is out with lead jammer status. Panic out on his initial pass. Blockers heading to the box for Brawlers means that Mo has an opportunity to get some extra points. 3 points up on the board for the Daisy Pushers. If there's a blocker in the box when the jammer passes the first set of hips, the opposing skaters, they will score a point for all of the skaters in the box. So 3 points. One skater at the back of the pack meant 3 points for the Pushers on that jam.
Looks like Gravy only has one blocker to beat here. The rest of the Brawlers are in the penalty box. Daisy Pushers have all their blockers out on the track, and so Honey is coming up against that tripod at the back. Gravy makes it past Zooks. Regrettal back on the track. Honey makes it out of the front of the pack, is coming around the track behind Gravy.
Gravy
Lots
calling
of-
it off with a smile.
Lots of action happening in turn 4 there. It was a quick call off after some points were scored.
Box is almost clear of Brawlers with just Slamma remaining. Panic attack on the line for the Bells of the Brawl again. Drag into dirt. Two very frequent jammers for both teams. And we have a timeout for the Daisy Pushers.
Parkway Physiotherapy and Performance Center is a place where personalized care meets specialized treatments and where patients are empowered to take control of their health and well-being.
And the Zone at 91.3 is our exclusive radio partner, playing today's modern rock. The Zone is live on the airwaves from right here in Victoria.
I think we should probably try to start the wave now.
Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna start the wave? Oh, this one! Start the wave! Which way is it gonna go? Oh! See if we can get the benches. They're in the middle of a timeout. Okay, everybody's waving at once, so there's some waves happening on the... Here, it's coming back our way now. There it goes!
There it goes, back around. Coming back around.
Oh yeah, that wave is really picking up. 5 seconds called. As we said, Panic and Dirt on the line. Panic knocked to the inside, but already around the outside. Fancy backwards skating and lead jammer for the Bells of the Brawl. Slamadanet returning to the track for defense. Dirt out on an initial pass too. Panic with a few seconds to score points. Tuck to the outside line, calls off the jam, but Dirt was in the pack scoring points when the call-off occurred, so we've got 2 points for the Pushers to the Brawlers 4.
Too bad the pyramid wasn't over there.
Yeah, if the pyramid was literally any of these other places, maybe it would have been hit down already.
Here we have Goose and Tuffy. Just, you know, doing what they usually do. Okay, all serious now. Here we go. Jam is underway. Goose making contact with the tripod at the back. Tuffy up near the pivot line makes it out of the pack. Goose coming up against, Goose going off to the box. Power jam for the Brawlers. Tuffy making it through lane 4. Chuck trying to make some action happen there. And Tuffy just doing a spin move, a little bit of backwards skating around that apex. Now coming back around. Everyone's prepared for Tuffy coming back through. Getting hit to the outside. Coming back onto the track. Sneaking around Dita. Getting in contact with Vile there. Looking up that inside line, but getting hit out by Chuck. Chuck with the recycle back. Chuck hits Tuffy out onto the outside this time.
Chuck, who's usually a jammer, showing off those blocker skills that they've been working on recently.
Tuffy getting a little bit of help from Banshee there. Oh, Goose is back on the track as well. Here comes Goose. Goose getting hung up a little bit on Banshee and Slaya there, but then making their way up the inside line. Tuffy and Goose both coming around the track at the same time. Tuffy says, no more of that.
And a last moment penalty call against Chuck.
And
Chuck
a lovely
this time
little high
the pivot
five.
now in the box. Looks like a forearm call and 5 penalties for Chuck. Late in the game though, so they're looking safe to stay in this one. Rest of the penalties are nice and low for all other skaters. Honey Crueler and Slayer Moon, your jammers for Jam 17. 4 blockers on the track for the Brawlers. Pushers down 1. Offense from Regrettal gets Honey moving up the inside line. Both jammers out side by side, but it is Honey Crueler and Blue lead jammer. And ahead of Mo, eligible to score. We'll see if Honey can grab some points before Mo can find any. Honey ducks past a couple of Pushers, calls off the jam. Pushers held to 0, and Honey 2 for the Brawlers. Now at a 9-point game in favor of the Pushers at this time. 8 minutes, 45 on the clock.
Not much time left. Drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear. Gravy and Panic setting off onto Jam 18 in period 2. Gravy on the inside line. Panic also on the inside line, getting hit out by Chaos. Chaos following Panic around the back of the pack. Meeting him up near the front again. Gravy just up against Slamma, but here comes Batty and Tank as well now. Panic coming out of the front of the pack. Here we are on turn number 2. We're in the other straightaway, and Gravy gives over the helmet cover to Chuck. Here comes Panic through the back, getting a little bit of a ride on Ruby's hips there. Calls the jam.
Really got to give it up for the Pushers' defense in that case. Panic is so fast, you have to block incredibly fast to keep a jammer like him in the pack. So the Brawlers held to 4 points in spite of that lead jammer status. Dragon to Dirt and Tuffy on the line. Both jammers with a lot of success this evening. 8 skaters, 8 blockers on the track. Brawlers taking a back wall, immediately stopping Dirt from progressing, even taking some space away from her. Dirt breaking up those Brawler blockers, though, is making her way to the front of the pack, but we've already got Tuffy out for lead jammer for the Brawlers. Dirt's been reabsorbed into the pack, so still on initial passes, Tuffy is scoring. Dirt out of the pack, Tuffy passing hips in the pack. Watching the bench for the instruction to call it off, and does so. 4 points go up on the board for the Brawlers, and we're back to another 1-point game. Give it up for the Brawlers for that jam, making this such an exciting game. And how about the Daisy Pushers, who've held on to that lead for so long? What an incredible show tonight. Honestly, I'm not sure who's going to win, but I do know that whoever does win this game will be facing off against the Margarita Villains on August 8th here at Victoria Curling Club. Your announcers, Hurls and Fanny, are part of the Margarita Villains, and honestly, after this game, I'm a little bit scared. They are all playing so well. The hits are huge. The jammers are fierce. The spins are incredible. The jammers using the edges of their wheels to stay in bounds this evening. So few track cuts.
There was a lot of speculation leading up to this game. Everybody wanted to have an opinion about who they thought was going to win. And what did I have to tell everyone? It's all pretty even in the end, isn't it? All of our house teams are pretty, I don't know, they're pretty even, which makes it the most fun.
Yeah, we do have a pretty good system for drafting and ensuring that all teams have an opportunity to grow and develop, and that's what you're seeing on the track tonight. It's your turn.
Goose and Honey out jamming here. We have the Brawler blockers up in the apex holding Goose there, hitting Goose down to the inside. Honey taking a little bit of a run up at the tripod of Daisy Pushers at the back. Chuck and Nerve are holding the pack in place. You're wondering why those two skaters are stuck in place? That is to maintain the pack. Honey coming out through the pack there, up the inside line, falling. Chuck has received the helmet cover and is coming around now as the jammer.
We've got Doom heading to the penalty box for the Brawlers.
Honey calling it off after making it out of the front of the pack against those Daisy Pushers there.
That was another example of the Pushers using the Star Pass as a strategy. They gave up the opportunity for lead jammer status in order to put those 3 points up on the board and open their lead back up to 4. As soon as the Brawlers were out of the pack, they were issued lead jammer status and eligible to call it off, but the Pushers had already posted those 3 points. Panic Attack and Slayer Moon again on the line for their respective teams. One blocker in the box for the Brawlers. We'll see Doom back on the track shortly. Panic bump to the inside line by Wheels of Fortune. Slayer Moon fighting hard against Zooks at the front. Zooks says nope, pushes Mo out of bounds and drags Mo all the way back to the very end of the engagement zone. Panic out for lead jammer status for the Bells of the Brawl. One scoring pass to tie up this game, but Panic is denied that pass by Gravy. Gravy hustles to the back to make Panic start again. Panic with a leaping apex jump. Did get all 4 points on that pass, and we have a tie game. This game does not get any more exciting than right now. 4 minutes left. Panic scoring again. Ref is issuing 4 more points to the Brawlers, and the Brawlers are now in the lead. Mo making their escape out the front of the pack. Helmet cover in hand, goes back on the helmet as they become eligible to score. Panic with another scoring pass, taps his hips, calls off the jam. Mills nodding, all 4 points collected on that pass. 12 points for Panic, and the Brawlers with a healthy lead, 144 to 136.
It's only like 3 minutes left here. Cloverdale Paint has helped keep our track going for over 13 years. Check out their newly opened store in Souk, as well as their other stores they have throughout Greater Victoria.
I recommend painting your new bedroom Brawlers
Green.
blue,
Oh,
or Pushers yellow and black, or maybe green. Maybe you're a Villains fan. Do we have any Villains fans who just came up to support, but you know, you're really here for the villains?
oh
We
yeah.
got a Brawler who's a Villains fan right here on the corner,
How can you not be?
right? Who loves jorts?
Here we have Chuck and Tuffy. It's all serious here at the jam line. Tuffy's going to the in, Chuck falling to the in, Chuck getting out on the inside line. We have a little Dita up against Vile at the front there.
Trading lead jammer
Tuffy
statuses.
decides to take that helmet cover off and decides to try to block Chuck there. Lank with some contact on the outside line. Chuck making their way through. Yes, Chuck wants some love from the crowd. Banshee with the helmet cover in hand, putting it on her helmet and making it out for jammer status. Chuck is in position to tie the game. Oh. That is very close. Very close.
Is anybody keeping track of how many ties we've had this game? Because I lost track in the first half. It's been a lot. Both of these teams want this game so badly.
Last couple minutes here.
Time for three more jams, perhaps? Trading leads at this point, so whoever gets 2 out of 3 leads is probably going to be your winner. We got Dirt on the line for the Pushers. Fighting against Zooks at the front, wants that lead jammer status and earns it. Honey says, I got to get out of here. Also finishes the initial pass as Dirt approaches for points for the Pushers. Dirt scoring now, calls the jam off. Ohm says that's 4 points for the Pushers, and they're back in the lead with 148.
Well, I thought about being speechless, but unfortunately, here I am. I don't know what to say. It's
Yeah, there've been-
phenomenal.
yeah.
It's just so entertaining. I'm having a great time.
There have been about 5 or 6 regional tournaments in flat track roller derby around the world in recent weeks, and even though those are super high level games and they're playing all around the world, this is the closest best game I've seen this year.
Right here in Victoria.
Right here in Victoria. Again, I'm frightened for August 8th. Gotta get back in the gym.
Don't have to get back in the gym if you never left the gym.
I guess when you've got a couple of kids, it's a jungle gym all the time.
All the time.
That was the Brawlers with a timeout, probably plotting what they're going to do to take this lead back.
1 minute 43 on the clock.
Gravy and Panic jammers for this jam. Panic on the outside line, also celebrating lead jammer status. Gravy fighting hard against the brawlers at the front. Panic in the pack and scoring.
Gravy with 2 blockers to beat at the front.
Panic with 4 more points, and that's another tie game. Gravy out of the pack on the initial pass, threatening to score, but Panic with the opportunity to put the lead on the board. Attempts the apex, calls off the jam. Ooh. We'll wait for the jam ref to tell us. No points that jam, and we are left at a tie game with less than a minute in this semifinal.
Wouldn't it be so fun if we had
An overtime jam?
I mean, it would be pretty fun.
They're pretty rare, but hey, if we get a tie at the end of this game, you might witness something very rare.
Very
Overtime
rare.
jam.
Official review underway here.
Pushers have called the official review. They're going to request something to give them an advantage going into what could be the last jam of the half. Unless it's a tie.
I'm quite excited for a beverage over at Swans after this.
Speaking of beverages.
I'm very excited that you're coming too, Fanny.
Yeah. Come join us at Swan's Pub for our after party. You can hang out with these skaters who have worked so hard this evening. Congratulate them on your favorite plays. Get
Buy
them to
them a
sign a
beer.
limb, maybe.
Autograph.
Yeah, autograph your arm.
That
Ask first. Don't just like
yeah.
hand the pen.
That beer
Sorry.
can pyramid is looking mighty enticing.
Oh yeah, the
there.
beer can pyramid has grown significantly. I think they've actually melded 2 beer can pyramids, so we're still waiting for that major crash out on the in between turns 1 and 2. What happens to the 3 fans seated behind the beer pyramid?
They're fine with it.
Oh, I don't know if you meant for that to happen, but it did, and now they're back.
They
to
will
building.
rebuild.
They will rebuild. They've got whatever remains of this official review. Our architect.
Also, as per shenanigans, we probably
Very
should
upset.
try to do one more wave. What do we think?
If you're a Pushers fan, join in on that cheer. Oh, we've got a
Hello. Hi. So, I got it. Thank you.
Listen up, everybody.
Team Black was asking for a blocking out of bounds penalty on the blue jammer. They attempted the apex jump with no safe place to land, and they blocked into a skater that had established their position. Therefore, they will get a penalty.
All right.
Thank you so much, Wiener.
So it is illegal to contact other skaters while you're out of bounds. If you do not have a clear path for your apex jump, you risk a penalty, and that is as Panic Attack in the box at the start of this jam.
Them's the rules, folks. And those rules are important. Here we go. Chuck on the line for this power jam opportunity. We have all 4 brawler blockers up on the jam line as well, ready to block.
Brawler's got a lot
We
of
have
work.
3 butts, 1 anchor. Chuck checking out that outside line, going diagonal up through the middle. Checking out the inside line, seeing how that feels. Pushing
Tapping.
that tripod wall quite a distance there. Here we are in the apex. And Chuck making it out of the front of the pack there. Chuck coming through. Still a few skaters in the box.
Smart move on Chuck's behalf to call that jam off before Panic is released.
Here we have 150 points for the Daisy Pushers and 148 points for the Bells of the Brawl.
But that call off was just a touch too late for Panic to stay in the box. Panic is out of the box, but we'll see what happens. We've got another official review. Oh no, we've got a team timeout right now for Bells of the Brawl. We'll see what happens here.
Official review. How do I know that?
Mint. Mint is signaling official review and pointing at the Bells of the Brawl's bench. So we know that's what's being requested. And yeah, the scoreboard is now echoing the same thing.
That is one of our NSO positions. Jam timer.
So what you just saw there, the jam was called off with less than 30 seconds remaining in the half. In which case, if the clock expires, the game does not resume, putting the pushers ahead of the brawlers. But because the official review was called before the period clock ended, period clock is frozen with 1 second left on it, and that means we will. Looks like we will have another jam, but I don't want to commit to anything just yet. Okay. So an official review was called, but it was being used as a timeout, which same effect. I believe we will have one more jam, but we will see what the referees have to say about that. I won't call it quite so quickly. Whew.
One more thank you to St. John ambulance attendants on site this evening as well. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to us. Dispenser over here trying to start a large chant. What does everybody else think? Shall we?
So this is what we call clock management. You got to look at that scoreboard and figure out what's in your best interest when timing those call-offs. And now we have 2 jammers on the track. One more jam. There's no more jams after this. Go for it.
And it's a doozy, of course, yet again. Here we go. Chuck getting hit out on the inside line. Panic getting hit out on the outside. Chuck coming around through on the inside line. Panic on the way
Chuck
to the
is on a
box.
power
jam for the Daisy Pushers. Couple of brawlers there at the front preparing to receive, and Tank hitting Chuck out on the inside line. Tuffy ready to follow that up. 2 blockers to beat here.
Chuck calling
follows it
off
off.
the jam.
This is incredible.
Chuck puts up 3 points for insurance. Calls off the jam.
What a game.
Yeah, let's hear some massive cheers from the crowd for our players, for our officials, for our volunteers. That was incredible. All right, we got to figure out.
Shout out to the skaters that probably have so much euphoria coursing through their veins at this point.
Give everybody high fives. That was a great game. They're all deciding on who is going to get the Spirit Award. Wasn't that a great game? Hope everybody's going to be here on the 8th to cheer them all on for the Calamity Cup. Spirit Award? Sorry? Thank you. All right, y'all ready to hear the MVPs? All right, your MVP jammers for the Brawlers. We've got 501 Panic. And then for the Pushers, we've got 111. MVP blockers for the Brawlers, 007 Tuffy. For your Pushers, we've got 555 Chaos.